The Chase Box, a rapidly increasingly famous build, created to deceive anyone who may be silly enough to online raid it. I'm sure you've seen versions of these bases from Snowmers, maybe XCav. Countless creators are rocking their own versions of these, utilizing them to defend some of the most fun online raids. Luckily, I've been able to combine the best of both worlds to create the ultimate definitive box, the spinkBOX. This base has been perfected throughout wipes, taking the original design from Chaser himself, keeping its most important functionality, increasing its defendability without exaggerating the cost, or where some people often go wrong, is by making this build look too scary. A box's best feature is that it's underestimated every single time. This base is unlike any other build, and this base is not for everyone. If you're less PvP oriented, if you prefer to maybe hide and spread your loot during an online raid, and if you prefer a good night's sleep, then this may not be the base for you. But if you can chase the adrenaline of an online raid in Rust, then this is the base to do it in. The goats on the Patreon have had access to this for a long time, and this is a build that I will continue to work on, modify, and improve throughout the wipes. For now, I'm happy enough to throw this one on the main channel, so I hope you boys and girls really enjoy.
Got through. One dead. Oh, dead. No one dead.
Yo, let's get in with the tour of the spinkBOX. Now, of course, as I probably mentioned before, this one does originate from Mr. TB20, the Chaser. He was using this long before any of the other boxes that you may have seen. And if you've watched the PvP videos, then you probably know that I've been repping a box for a while as well. But out of all the box builders, I think I'm probably the only one who does a lot of building. So hopefully this one takes the cake. But essentially, for those of you who are not familiar, the box is essentially the best base for an online raid scenario. Looking at it, it's not a very sizable house. As we know, online raids are rather rare in the game, so that's why it's so small. It's also a snowball base, so we're not looking to farm too much. The main thing that we don't want to do with this design is intimidate other players. So you can see that there are some angles here that you would consider to be quite broken. We have Brutalist and Jungle and a couple of Patricos up here, but all of these angles, you know, you can come ladder up if you want and you can take me off of them. So it keeps it fair, it keeps the base non-scary. At the end of the day, getting online raided in Rust is one of the most fun things that can happen. And this base should hopefully get you there. I can say that with confidence as it's gotten me there many times. So as we go through the tour, I'll just give you a little showcase of different peaks and different things that I've set up in the build and show them actually in action. This is like one of the most tested bases that I've done and have slowly developed over a lot of different online raids. If you guys are into building and you're looking for something a little bit extra, consider checking out the Patreon in the description down below, where you guys can gain access to bi-weekly private bases, all up to an S tier standard for only $5. This Patreon is a perfect way to support the channel, whilst gaining access to some cool builds that apply to different group sizes across the board. The subscription also gives access to my own private meta box that I use in every PvP video. Feel free to join the Discord down below, where there's loads of different builders, including me, who can help you guys out, a full list of my PvP settings and quick commands, and if you're looking to go one step further and get a fully private custom-made base design down to exactly everything you and your team will need, then you can open a ticket in the Discord and purchase yourself a fully custom private base design. These products are super well reviewed and I genuinely could not recommend them enough, and they help me out massively. Appreciate you boys and girls for listening. Let's get back into the tour. So coming into the front door here, this is a standard angle now that you've probably seen on a few of my base designs. You can see that on the entrance, unless they're crouching, they're not even really going to clock that there's an angle here. Jumping up our mobility chute, it's pretty standard now. We come into our shell, up and round, wrapping over, and that makes this shell feel really secure, which I really like. The inside of the shell is a 2-waller from most angles, which is super nice. Allows you to throw some deployables in here because, of course, the starter base is not so spacious and not so forgiving on boxes. And the shell, I think, has also been perfected here just with the angle into the front door is absolutely busted. Once these doors disappear, the angle is just too clean. And, of course, I have too many examples of being able to use this in an actual raid defense. The way the shell is set up, that all the weak spots are perfect for where we expect to see raiders, even down to the deployable placement of just this little Chinese lantern DLC kind of section here. It's great for those of you who can have a stand spray pretty comfortably. You're going to be able to get some headshots through this, and of course it just forces stand sprays for the people who maybe are not so confident with standing with the AK. They're going to have to do so in here, and hopefully you can take a win on them. We got our inner peaks here looking down on these sections with the floating ramps, and then some tighter angles around the front here, and I can give a better demonstration once I'm up there. So there's 2 mobility chutes to allow you to get up and through the base, which is super important. Another important thing in this base is the bedrooms. And this is one of your prime bedrooms here. This is where I would expect to see the majority of your gear sets going. This bedroom is perfect for retaking your inners. If I break the garage door, you can see we have a nice angle down here. And there's also some boxes in here as well, and a room for your teammates' beds. You may have noticed as I came up, I also like to hide my TC in here as well. I find that is a spot that is very rarely discovered. Usually your TC will be down in the starter base, but we like to tuck it up here. This is a great retake angle as well, so if someone is trying to use your inners, or if they're running around in here, you're at least going to be able to get some headshots off them from here on this high angle. And the triangle with the box setup actually makes it a little bit of a one-way up here too, which is super clean. It's just an angle that raiders are really not going to be focusing on, and their crosshair placement is not really going to be lining up with this window whatsoever. Your mobility chute also comes with another retake angle. We can open this door here. Gives access to one of our flex vending machines that's totally safe from the outside. They do need to take the inners floor to access it. And again, with this garage door gone, it's going to give us a nice angle into our inner peaks, and you can open in this door and close the door from here, which is super handy. And of course, it's not the best angle in the world, but it does give us some info before pushing out into our inners. Our inners are so important. We do not want to lose this area. So if you can get turrets in here, feel free, but often chase boxes never get to that stage, and that's totally fine. Little display of the inner peak downs now. We get amazing angles here that we can strafe on and off of quite quickly. So we're not stuck up here. It's no drop down kind of sections. And then we get perfect downward angles right below us, watching into the back and through into that middle corridor there as well. But this crouch angle is really nice, and just a quick reminder of what raiders are going to be looking at. It's really not something that's going to be fun for them to aim at, but a heavy pop, and you're going to put in work. I reckon even a HV would have a hard job killing you from here, and it's usually the corners that I see getting blown into of these boxes. They kind of get split open, so you can see you're going to have an amazing angle outside the base for anyone that's thinking about trying to push in. Back up on the inners floor, I'm going to go back down the starter base to just give you guys a little look at that. The full base is symmetrical as well, so at the top of this mobility chute, we have a bedroom again. And I like to hide my large battery here. If I do get to turrets, then this is where the battery for that is going. And again, very rarely discovered. Of course, TC side of the base, have that on an area where you don't really expect rockets to be coming in from, and the battery less important than your TC. Entering now into the starter, this is basically our early game shooting floor here. We're just placing off the double door, single door airlock, and this will work perfectly fine to do a bit of roof camping early on into the build. It honestly is more effective than you might imagine it to be. And again, I can show examples of that working out pretty well. Down inside the starter, it's all down to the barrel placement here. You can do boxes as well if you're on console, but yeah, not going to get millions of boxes in here, but ideally you want to keep majority of loot inside bedrooms and then just kind of leave farm and such in here. But there should be no guns at this level. Ideally all weapons and armor and things should be next to bed. That's what we're striving to do inside the box. But yeah, the starter is super simple. TC will go here when you first put the base down, and it seals up nice and cheaply early game, which is super important. And if you're good with the box placement, well, you won't need to be on this force once the update's out. But if you're good at placement, then you can take advantage of this space very effectively. So far, we have only seen 2 bedrooms, but there is another very important bedroom coming up now. This bedroom over here is going to be known as the corridor. Now, it's a bit of a jump into here. If you don't like that, you can place a ladder up against this wall, or you can use some sort of deployable to help too, maybe a siren light. But ideally, this base is for decently skilled players, so we would be looking to like find this jump not difficult, ideally. So this is another famous section of the base, and this one is known as the corridor. So we get 2 beds to spawn here, and you can place a barrel as well to rekit off of. And this is the corridor. So now this is in a top-down raid scenario. We'd expect to see some players coming through here. And you might be looking at this section and thinking to yourself that it's not overly impressive. You've got a little bit of a half-wall head glitch to play off here, but it's really not that special. You may be surprised to see, as a raider coming in to this section, this is what their POV looks like. There's absolutely no angle that they can get on you without crouching down. And by the time they've done that, you're already kind of pre-aiming at their legs. If they are to give you a headshot here, again, anyone that's a decently skilled player is just going to be taking their head off the second they crouch down. It's just far too unfavorable of an angle. It's very difficult for them to swing and take you off of this. Even if they're coming in with a rocket launcher, you've still got their legs. I mean, immediately you can see on the door. The corridor is a very fun thing to play off of, but it's very rare that you do get top-down door pathed. But if you're lucky enough to get it, you're going to have an amazing time in here. Exiting out from the corridor now, it takes us into a new section of the base. I like to call these the balconies because that's pretty much what they are. Balconies, I find, are, again, they help with the intimidation side of the base. A lot of people are going to underestimate the build looking at something like this. It's very role player-esque, and it's nice to have good callouts for the base as well for you and your teammates to know and direct each other around. You can see we have 2 ways out of the balcony, and these are both airlocked as well, which is super nice. And each side also comes with a roof retake. It actually has quite a lot of visibility on there, and unless they're holding this angle, you are going to get away with a kill. You and your teammate can just do one each side, and it's a good chance you'll be able to retake your roof with these angles with ease. Overall, very good angle. I like that one a lot. And we can exit out from either side of the balcony and jump up to our roof. The balcony, again, is a quick way to just play off of. You can come through, take some angles from here. Of course, it's not super favorable, but on the outside, people are not really expecting you to exit from here, especially if they are looking up at the base. You even really know there's a door there, and you're not going to be looking for that angle whatsoever. From the balcony, you have 2 options. You can either take the waterfall down and exit your build without any fall damage, getting back to a fight rather quickly. That's super handy. Straight from the bedrooms. Wherever you are keeping your kits, you want to have good mobility. Or you can jump up on the frame here, and that will take us to our roof. See, both doors lead out here. Coming up now onto our roof, you can see the retakes here, and we have a lot of great angles as well. Some good, really tight Patricos up here for far away. A little bit of a stand spray angle down as well, or you can drop on this, and it is fall protected on the front here, so you can utilize this angle pretty well. And you can even back up on the ramps as well, and use both of these angles too, to continue crouching and catch raiders off from unexpected angles. And that's on both sides of the build, and these are really good angles. It's a really nice open roof with a lot of dangerous peaks without looking too intimidating. You've got to remember that's the most important thing with the box builds, is that nobody is scared of them. We want people to come in, underestimate you, maybe bring a few less rockets than they need, maybe not even raid base, just a bed plat, and you're gonna have a lot more fun if they come into this not expecting a tough time. Couple turrets here work perfectly fine. They're pretty open. Attack heli could take these out, but again, I'm not so worried to have people on my roof. In the center, we have a couple of angles here. I've gone for a brutalist peak with a jungle right next to it. Of course, that encourages you guys to buy a few DLCs, and if you don't want to do that, you don't need to do that. The angle is pretty much the same if it's just a default build. You can see the metal's pretty similar to the jungle, and then the brutalist is very tight and handy as well. Nobody's going to take you off this unless they come ladder up and do it themselves, or if they're operating with a bolty, then they're going to do some damage to you there. But heavy pan up here, you're going to be good for far too many, and often I see these angles getting rocketed out. The same angles then repeat over here, and it might look like they're basically done with the tour, but we're not. We have one more set bedroom that I would say is essential to the build. You guys can throw other beds down, but the 3 main beds that you need to worry about are the top of the staircase bedrooms, and that name comes from a prior version of the build, then the corridor bedrooms, and then lastly, these are the balcony bedrooms. So on the opposite side of your jump up, we have 2 drop downs, and again, it's just a bedroom with a retake. Up onto roof, a barrel for your kits, and an exit out of the balcony and back up onto roof if you need, and they're both here. Just like that. And honestly, a really amazing bedroom. I could see it being very effective in an online raid. However, it is one door, so usually you're hoping to get pretty loaded in these snowballs. I just have shotguns in here, Tommies, things that I don't really care about losing if someone was to offline this part. But again, this is not a base that you build and intend on sleeping. We're not trying to sleep. And if we are going to sleep, then you better keep your headphones on, because you want to be here for this base getting raided. It's a lot more fun. Then we have the waterfalls again from roof to take us down. No fall damage at all. And we're out. And we're gone. The perfect thing about this build is there's no real externals or any raid repellent. It's really not an intimidating base on the outside. And once you learn it, you can become very, very effective inside. The chase box is something that I regularly build in most of my snowballs, and it's a base that I will continue to work on for a long time. Future versions of this build will most likely just be available on the Patreon. So hopefully you guys are all impressed with the build and you'd like to know how much it costs. Hopefully in all of your eyes, it is cheap enough. First of all, on screen is the total build cost. Second up is that build cost in box amounts. And lastly is the total upkeep that's just the 1 TC. And ideally, you're not going to be on the server long enough to have to worry about upkeep too much. Hopefully you guys are impressed with the build. Now let's go ahead and teach you how to build it. Alright, let's get in with the tutorial now of the box. This is something I'd recommend practicing on a build server, or at least doing a little bit of research on, as if you're snowballing correctly, you're hopefully not going to have time to be tabbing out and looking at any YouTube videos. So see if you can get this in your head. For starters, I like to build on kind of dodgy build spots that look pretty hard to build a raid base nearby. So you'll see me often do it on kind of tall mountains or cliffs. So if you want to confirm your build spot actually fits, this is what you need to do first. Start with a 2x1 and wrap that all the way around in squares. All the way. So the 2x1 is fully covered. Then from there we add triangles. Round the sides just like this. And if you can fit that, then you're good to go. That's the house pretty much. So you'll have enough space to operate. For now though, this is all we need, a 2x1. Then go ahead and wrap your 2x1 in walls with either a double door or a single door. And keep in mind where this is facing. Again, build spot obviously makes a difference here, but yeah. Just keep in mind what way that faces. And of course, go for the side where you think you're least likely to have any issues. TC is going to be tucked in here and just place it all the way back on the stairs. And then you can just seal up the top. Just like this. And this is the bare minimum that you need to seal up the build. Having a little airlock there. And have this one entering in towards us. And that's all you really need. What I like to do, even if I don't have the stone, is I'll just add that in. This at least feels a little bit safer, even if it's just twig. At least nobody can look in from there. Once you're ready to continue though, I think it's important to get some height on the build and give ourselves some roof camping potential. So what I like to do is just wrap it up to the top here. Just like so. And then we get our double door into 2 single door airlocks like this. And another thing, I'm very anti-invisible door when I build this base. I feel like it works against you when you're in such a small space. So if you can, have doors that don't have any windows on them. I just prefer that. So add this in, swing it out the way. I'm afraid for now this is your shooting floor. And I mean, you can put in some work from up here. Don't underestimate it. You can do some stuff from up here. However, if you prefer though, sometimes I like to come out and just give myself the full kind of section here. The whole balcony. To play off of. Keep in mind that that does make you a little bit more raidable from the top down if you give them this to stand on, but if you're feeling confident, sometimes I'll come out here and just give it this. But that's optional, depending on where you're at on stone wise. But for now, this is what the base is looking like. Not too intimidating at all, but unfortunately people are going to know what you're building when they see this. It's very recognizable at least. Next thing to do now is to get the rest of the footprint down, so at least the shell. So we're going to wrap in squares again like we did before. Upgrading as we go. And it's okay if you can't build the entire shell. Just sometimes getting that first floor shell makes the base feel a lot safer. So in front of our door we have a window. And then the rest is walls. Again, we have a window on the right side like this. And the rest is walls. There we go. Easy peasy. The bare minimum now that we need to build to actually get inside is a couple of foundations. You can add your wall here. And you can add a floor like this. And now we can hop inside our shell just like so. If you don't have any stone on you at the moment, then I like to add in these stairs. And that just gives me a little something to play off of while I'm here. It's not an amazing angle, of course, but it's something to look over the top. And the shell makes things feel a lot safer, at least for people to get to this single door now, which we could be worried about door camping. They at least need to make some noise now to get in here. We've forced some jumps or a ladder, so we can at least play off of that. If you're ready to continue though, we'll go ahead and seal up the airlock and make it a little bit safer. So we wrap in just like this. Low wall at the bottom, half wall at the top, and a floor here. With a frame below. And then we raise this one up. And up again. Just like that. It's a single door to lead us in. 2 normal walls here. We'll add in a half-height triangle first. There we go. Add in your floors. Frame below again. And those are garage doors that just go through the middle. Then from here we add in a single door. Could make that a double if you want, but I feel that it's stronger on the outside like this. This is a double door here, and we can throw a vending machine in this part. Then we half wall, low wall, with a floor here, and a floor here. Then off that half wall, we can add in a jump up. Give this a frame. And lastly, wrap it in one more time. TC location here, either a door or a window. If you have the BPs, go for a window. If you're far from BPs, go for a door. Definitely make sure there's no glass on this one. And move your TC as soon as you can. People are rarely finding it. They might find it now there's a YouTube video though. Hopefully not. Then to be able to seal everything up, I like to just build the whole bedroom. And again, I like to single door airlock this because it just feels stronger. So we can seal all that up and we're good to go. Looking pretty good. For this double door, you want it to swing out. And the vending machine to flex loot if you decide to go down that path can be thrown in at any time. And it's in a very raidable spot where it could wind up getting despawned. But you don't want to do that, of course. At the end of the day, if you get the online raid, they deserve the loot as long as everybody had fun. And they try and leave the HVs at home if they can. But we've done one mobility chute. We need to bring the next one up to the same height. So we'll do it again. And we're just doing the same thing on the opposite side. We'll go for single door again, actually. Full low wall here. Double door. Single here. Into our jump up. Wrap it on the back. If that one's TC, then this one is a large battery. Again, if you have the window, go for window. It is stronger. But at least door keeps things hidden. Then we're airlocking into this. Up to the bedroom. Does get a window. And that's all sealed in now. Perfect. Flex Vendy spot. Door opening out. Nice little angle there. And that's what the base is looking like now. If you want to add a half height in here, you can, so that nobody's coming in that window. Again, assuming that you don't have BPs. But if you're snowballing on a monthly, there's a good chance you probably do have a few BPs. Now that we have some mobility on the base, the next thing I'll be looking to do is seal up the shell. So we're going to come into our shell and we'll take out these stairs. They're no longer needed. And on the long sides of the shell, you can see that these are long 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So on the long side, we'll do a frame to a window. Just like that. This entire part can just be wrapped on the back and walls. And then on the short side, we'll just do a frame with a half wall. Just like that. In these corners, you can add a twig floor, and that needs to be twig. We're going to break this later to float a ramp on. So make sure we leave this twig. Then down here, we can actually honeycomb. Who would have thought? The core gets honeycombed from the outside. Very handy. And we still have angles into this area once it's all built. As for the jumps, we can add in the half walls here and jump like that. If your team are struggling, then you can add some furnaces in here. But again, this is a skilled player base. So we are looking to be able to do these jumps, hopefully without issue. We can also add a half wall on this side. And again, furnaces if you need, but ideally you don't need them. And we're framing windowing on the long side. Walling in the back. On the short side, we're frame half walling. Honeycombing the middle of this. Twig floor at the bottom here, just like that. Then in the center, we can add in a frame. And a half wall at the top of that. And a couple of floors. And we'll work on that once we get up. We can do this from down here. And this is just to build the inners. It's pretty complicated, the inners, from the original chase box. But I do prefer these. So if you can be bothered, then definitely go for them. We're going to come up now and throw some ramps in here. So we get a low ramp at this level. You can upgrade that. Next, we place a frame. Very important. Don't know why that upgraded. W server. Then from there, we place a raised ramp in this section here. Sometimes it's hard. It's not always wanting to go blue. Just move yourself around, get the right angle. Sometimes it can go red, but this is what we're looking for. Then upgrade that to something with a grill, whether it's metal or brutalist. And then you can go and demolish the twig, or you can just shoot it out as well. No ammo. You can just break this twig if you need it, and it'll be held up by the other ramp. So there we go. There we are. If you want to see a little bit deeper into the shell, you can see we can upgrade this to normal metal. And then that angle opens up a little bit more. And that's how we rock it. So we'll do the same over here. We get the frame in. We get the low ramp. Pretty good. You can put some boxes in here and even throw window glass on there. And it's probably a box that will get left alone. You might need to change your look radius. Right now, the what I'm typing into the console is look radius. And I'm making that 0 just because I'm having some trouble upgrading that. So that helps. We get the raised ramp in and we shoot our twig out. There we go. Do it over here as well. Frame in. Low ramp. High ramp. Twig gone. It needs to be done in that order. Frame in again. Low ramp. High ramp. And you break the twig. Once you guys have done that, we're going to seal up the rest of the shell now, wrapping walls on the back. Just like so. We can do that on this side as well. In the middle, we can add in frames, and over here as well, all double doors. And ideally, these two are garage doors, a little bit stronger, and it helps doing the jump over here. Doing that on both sides, and adding in a floor. Now at this stage into the build, you need to make a decision. Is this side likely to have a raid base? Or is this side more likely to have a raid base? Very important to think about. We don't want to lose our jump up to corridor. It would be pretty annoying. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go here and we add single doors there. On the opposite side where we don't have raid base, we can just add in half walls. And floor it in. And from there, we can add in floors on the corners of the base too. Like so. And you'll see that we have one gap left in the base. So we're going to add in full walls here. Soft side facing in towards us. And lastly, we're going to add in a triangle just to cover up that angle a little bit more. And it makes it a little bit of a one-way, which is nice. So we do that over here too. And again with a triangle in here. Then we can jump back up to our corridor now and start working on that. Add in a full wall, double half wall here, and we floor along. Seal that up with a double door, add in a half wall, then double half wall, upgrade this one, and then break the lower. And that gives us our one-way. Very nice. And that one-way will go out as far as you need it to. There's no angle here unless they crouch. And if they crouch, then you take their head off. Next from there, we're going to move on to our single doors. These exit out. Add in a double door to airlock those. And it's a wall in front. And you can add in your floors. So over here for our roof retakes, we're going to need to float a triangle. And there would be honeycomb underneath this. We're going to add that at the end because it's the least important thing to spend your mats on. So we're going to do a double full wall on here. Half height triangle with a low wall underneath. Then from there you can add in a window and a full wall. Just like so. And upgrade those. Single door goes in here with a floor on top. And we can do that on this side as well. Full wall, half height triangle on the inside, low wall underneath, single door, window exiting out with a full wall on the side. And there we go. Again, there'll be honeycombing over here, but we don't need to add that in just yet. So we'll add in our triangle floor, double half wall, and a frame here to jump on. We'll do that over here too. Half wall. You'll be jumping onto this frame to get in. Next, we add in a single door with a window here. Next, from here, we can jump inside the window and add in some frames. We're going to make this a Patrico. So if we add in frames, half walls above to keep our head safe, and then a triangle frame on the inside. Ideally with a floor grill in there, if you can afford it and you have the BP. If not, it's not a massive deal. And we add in a ramp just to sit on there, and we can use this to crouch on the angle, and it keeps this one a little bit more protected too. There we go. If the floor grill's missing, then it does give them a little bit more opportunity to take your head off through this gap here. Ideally, we're just using the bottom half of the Patrico, so it makes sense to just cover that up. We'll do the same over here. Frames go in. Then your half walls. Then your frame. Floor grill in. Reverse embrasure. And a ramp to stand on. Then we can go ahead and do this on the opposite side. Over here we drop down to one of our balcony bedrooms and we'll make it everything line up as it does. So over here we're going to float a triangle, and this is going to be our retake. Half height triangle in there, low wall below. Window on the right, wall on the left. Single door down the middle. Server bug going on. Single door to exit out. Floor this in. Out to the balconies now. Frame in the middle. Drop down, do the same over here. And just make sure everything lines up when you're doing this, so our base is nice and symmetrical. Out to the balcony. Single door out. Jump up to the frame, and we can half wall these. Frame in the middle. Same over here. Frame in the middle. Give it a window and an embrasure. And a ramp to sit and stand on. Just like that. In the middle is a single door. Then over on the 3 triangle section, we're going to wrap it in frames. Just like that. Then we can triple half wall. 2, 3. Windows in front. Put your embrasures on now if you can. Full walls on the left and right. Ramps go in. Maybe you go for a collection, jungle and brutalist. Then up top we add in some low walls to keep our heads safe. Do the same over here. Triple half wall. Windows go on. Full wall on the left and right. Collection of ramps. There we go. Cover your head from here. Embrasures go on. Just like so. The tart placement can be pretty weird, but I mean, you just place it kind of on the middle of this ramp. And it works perfectly. There we go. As for our windmills, they go up here. And we actually want to add in floors all the way across this. And that just stops anyone from peeking down on the balconies. If they've taken your roof, they can't stop you from getting to this door until you actually open it. So that's the nice way to set that up. And the windmill sits perfectly in the middle of that too. Throw some twig down to help us. And just get that in the middle. And then head over and do the same on this side. Just like that. Next thing for us to do is fob protect this peak so we can float a frame out here. And add in a couple of low walls, and they don't need to be any kind of high grade. If you're making all this metal, that part is not so important. Here we go. And do that on all of these. There we go. Now in this stage, the base looks pretty friendly. It's not too scary at all. The last thing for us to do would be get some honeycombing on this, beef it up a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Add in your triangles now. And we honeycomb the first floor. Like so. Then we can give it a layer of frames. Just like that. And then we can give it a layer of full walls again. We can do the same basically on all sides. Once all your honeycombing is done, there's one more section left to do, and that's in the center over here. If you come out with a half moon, give it a square, add a triangle, and then break all of this, you can return back and just get an extra bit of honeycombing on the center here for a little bit cheaper. So you just throw that roof ramp there, and that covers the front part, keeps it safe from any splash damage from rockets. Got the scrap alley in the way. There we go. And that also gives you the option to build out if you want to claim a little bit more build spot and stop any fobs getting too close. Remember, it's important to add these triangles in too on the entrances. Makes it a lot harder to peek back at that angle. And we can also add in our waterfall over here. Like so. Should already have a half wall there to work with. And like that. Last thing to do is to just make this look a little bit more natural. Again, playing off the half wall instead of our floating frames. And then once you boys and girls have done that, that completes the base design. Hopefully boys and girls are impressed with this base, and I really hope to see this one out there on some servers. Remember to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below. And if you want to cop a custom base, that would be amazing too. And I'll see you boys and girls in the next video. See you in a bit.